Hello and welcome. I'm Raziel. Now, today I wanted to sort of discuss what my channel is about and why it's about this. I've never really done a video like this. They tend to be more, you do these kind of videos where they introduce a channel. It's quite an early one, but I want to talk about this and why it is. Now, when I first started this, I had no idea what I wanted to do on YouTube. I wanted to do something about Warhammer. I went political. I found that absolutely tedious. I've done some animations. I find them fun and I enjoy doing them. However, they are very time consuming and I find myself, not being able to produce one because I just don't have the time. Hence the sort of slideshow shorts I make. They're just a bit of fun, a bit of comedy, just to lighten the day. And that's something I wanted to do. But again, it was time consuming. Then I went down the lore path. Now, I enjoyed doing the lore, and I was reading the lore from the codexes, and that's what I was doing. But again, I found it sort of restrictive and I wasn't enjoying it. So then I went down trying to help people financially with their hobby. So, I do like how you can make an army for less than £100, which was a fun way of doing it. I enjoyed maths. It's one of my favourite things in the world. And so I enjoyed doing that. And I was building up a bit of steam with that one. And I was doing something I enjoyed. And then that was kind of cool. But then I found myself, when Combat Patrol boxes and everything else, I was running out of things to talk about. So then I sort of did like how to kit bash. One of my most popular video is actually how best boxes to kit bash Space Marines. That's my most popular video at the moment with 13,000 views. I'm just astounded I have a video with 13,000 views. And so then it was more, when I started going into like the new stuff, talking about what's coming out with Games Workshop and talking that way. Now, this was the point where things started to turn for me. Because more and more Games Workshop news was coming out, the more and more I kind of saw this pattern of mediocrity, this sort of blandness with their models and their news, and it just never seemed to be very interesting by the end of it. And by the point now, which was back at the early start of this year, I just found myself doing more and more negative videos. And I was getting quite upset. I was finding it harder to make a video because I'd have to talk negatively about something. And when I had to talk positively, it was great. I enjoyed doing that bit, even though I might disagree with some other YouTubers, but I've always tried to see their point of view, and that's the thing. But it was constant negativity, and things like having to buy a book to go with a single model kind of started getting me down. Now, my point of change, believe it or not, wasn't the price rise early this year, which was my last proper Games Workshop video, and that's when I kind of said, that's it, I'm done. I still talk about them, but not in a more comments, not in a not more than a lot less than I used to. My brain's just farting all over the place, and I apologise. But it was more, now I'll talk about Games Workshop if I believe it to be that important. Like, it's a really important thing to discuss. Positive, negative, it didn't bother me. I thought it would be important to talk about. A good example was the Mechanicum release for Horus Heresy, that being cheaper than Mechanicus. Mechanicus for Horus Heresy and Mechanicum for 40k. So that being cheaper and better value than the 40k needed to be spoke about and shown to you. And I thought that's fine. And the Blood Angel stuff I found very underwhelming and needed to be discussed about in a negative way. Either way, if it's important enough, I'll talk about it, about Games Workshop. But back to the point. The thing that really broke me when it came to Games Workshop wasn't the price rise. It was the week before. And this is the first time I had literally done like 20 takes. I had done so many recordings of the video that I wanted to do, which was the new Combat Patrol for Chaos Space Marines, which came out the week before for pre-order, because the Lord Possessor is still not available on his own. He has never been available on his own. To lock this one model behind big boxes, to me, was incredibly egregious. I think it's absolutely disgusting. And it got me so upset, I ended up just not talking about it. I just thought I had to do something else, and I just couldn't be bothered with it. So that was my breaking point. However, I also understood that if I was to talk negatively about Games Workshop or stop talking about Games Workshop, I had to find an alternative. So I started moving on to Wild West Exodus and Mantic and Warlord Games and every other company that I enjoy. And this is where the points of my channel comes from. My goal is not just to talk about wargaming as a whole, but to give people alternatives to Warhammer, to Games Workshop, to show people that there are many, many other companies out there. And what really sort of spurred me on for this is the negative video YouTubers, which we get, and there are a lot of them, never seem to offer an alternative to Games Workshop. They will make constant negative videos about Games Workshop, but very rarely do they actually offer an alternative. Now, I think that if you are making that many videos on negatively about a single company, at one point you're going to have to start, either putting your money where your mouth is, but talking about something else, talking about a different game. And that was my intention. That's my intention with this channel. This is why I talk about Warcradle a lot. I talk about Wild West Exodus a lot. And even though people say, why do I talk about Wild West Exodus when I know it's a dead game? One, it's not a dead game. We know we're getting stuff soon. Check out their Facebook. It's one of the developers actually said we are getting some stuff in a couple of years. I'm super excited about that. But it was the fact that I wanted to show people these models and games that weren't Games Workshop, and wanted to show people that, if you are against Games Workshop, or if you've fallen out with Games Workshop and you just don't want to buy their product anymore, but you still want to get into wargaming and making fun models or painting models, etc., then there were alternatives out there. And that's kind of the point. When people don't offer you an alternative and just only negative, it gets kind of tiresome. It's not good for them, by the way. It really is. And having constant negative thoughts about a single thing is very bad for your mental health. And I think they're going to need to get help in the end, because it's going to be physically draining and not just mentally draining on their person to constantly talk negative. So that's kind of what it is. I want to be that sort of buffer, that place where people can see other games, talk about other games, and not just have someone constantly badmouth Games Workshop. If I need to badmouth Games Workshop or talk negative about Games Workshop from now on, I will start giving you an alternative to something better, so you can actually have fun with your wargaming. And that's kind of the point. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. Mondays will now be more of an opinion piece, just me gabbing on, rant, whatever. And that's it. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really do. I hope you're having a lovely day. I hope it's not raining like it is here. And I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you. And of course, if you wish to support this channel, click on Wayland Games down below, to where you can get your wargaming stuff up to 20% off. They also do Lego as well at some discounted price as well, which is kind of cool. You click down there, I do get a commission from them, and it's free delivery after £20. There's Forbidden Planet as well, if you like comics, DVDs, mangas, all that cool, fun, geeky stuff. That's kind of sweet. That's a really cool shop too. And give them a look if you're into that sort of geeky stuff. That's cool. If you want to personally support me and actually make me happy, click on my comics. There is 2 comics. One's a horror anthology, and the other is about Little Red Riding Hood going absolute ham on some Lovecraftian cyborg werewolves, which was an absolute blast to draw and write. Yes, they are all drawn by me. I'm the artist and the writer. So it's all done by me, and all done by hand as well. Yes, it's artisan. The Skyforge, I do not get paid for Skyforge. He's a good friend of mine. So let's get him up the Google algorithm. And finally, Patreon, because business, and I never check it.